Okay, they got me. The frickin' Hallmark company made something that I actually didn't mind. Dinotopia. Let's get into it. Good day, folks. Welcome back to Andy Boy Comics and Toys. First of all, I probably would have never bought this on DVD. Also, it didn't belong to me. I borrowed this off of a friend who says it's her favorite movie ever. And technically, it's not even a movie. Dinotopia. It's a made-for-television miniseries from 2002. It is pretty much exactly what you would think by the title. It's about a land where humans and dinosaurs coexist in harmony. Or not really. I probably never would have watched this on my own if it wasn't for my friend suggesting this, because it's brought to you by Hallmark Entertainment. Yeah, you know, the greeting card company. Also the ones that bring you all those cheesy romantic Christmas movies. I ain't got time for that.
Cards are not my bag, baby.
Yeah, it's got dinosaurs in it. I like dinosaurs, but we already have Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies, and I'm even starting to lose interest in them. So, dinosaurs, I mean, you know, when I was a little kid, I thought they were pretty awesome, but I was already in my 30s by the time this came out. Not really in my periphery, if you will. The whole thing is based on books by a guy named James Gurney, who was apparently an archaeological illustrator. He used to go to archaeological digs and, you know, try and recreate what he thought the actual ruins would have looked like back before they were ruins. Yeah, so he was working for National Geographic, going all around the world doing this kind of thing and drawing up all kinds of ancient architecture, things like that. And I guess he just decided to get a little creative and threw some dinosaurs in there. And so then he came up with this whole concept of Dinotopia and built the world where humans and dinosaurs coexist in harmony. It's not very scientific, you know, coming from a guy that worked for National Geographic. Plays out more like a fantasy. It comes off more like Harry Potter than anything else to me. It's like 4 hours long, and I'm amazed that I actually put in the time to watch it this time around. But I gotta say, after putting in that time, it wasn't that bad. Now, the story takes place, of course, in the fictional land of Dinotopia, which is I guess it's an island surrounded by impenetrable reefs and continuously shrouded in fog. And I don't know, I guess maybe there's some kind of like obscuring mist or something like that, like Kong Skull Island or Wakanda. I don't know, they don't really explain how it hasn't been, like, explored by the modern society and how it's not even on any map or anything like that. Just that it exists. And there's two brothers, they're in a small plane with their father, and they're flying, I guess, close to where Dinotopia is, and their plane crashes in the water. The two brothers survive and make it to the land of Dinotopia, but the father sinks with the plane and is assumed dead. So the two brothers explore this strange new land, and they find that there's dinosaurs running around everywhere, and there's people living with the dinosaurs and actually communicating with the dinosaurs, sharing society. You know, the dinosaurs in some cases are like workers, in other cases they're like actual like council members, and like one is a librarian and professor that speaks perfect English. Yeah, there's two brothers, well, they're half brothers, and named Carl and David. Now, Carl is like a hot-headed, egotistical asshole, and David is like this, you know, strong and pure but wussy kind of. And I think David is the younger of the two. First person they meet in Dinotopia is a guy named Cyrus Crab, and he's played by David Thewlis, who played Professor... Well, I can't remember his name. The guy that turned into a werewolf in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban. Yeah, that guy. And he's like one of the only good actors in here, I think. There's a couple other ones you might recognize, but he's one of the only ones that I really knew. I mean, you can tell from the first time they meet this guy that he's kind of a dirtbag, but he's like an ally at first, and then he betrays them by the end of the movie. Ooh, spoilers. Yeah, anyway, he helps them get to Waterfall City, which is the capital of Dinotopia. And they also meet the princess... What the hell's her name? Marion. Princess Marion, who is the most boring, terrible actress. At least I think she is. You know, no diss, but come on, this is Hallmark, people. She's such an incredible goody-goody princess, and she wants to lead the way in the world of Dinotopia and inspire others to be good and blah blah blah. So the two brothers, one is constantly trying to get out of there, the asshole one, and the other one's trying to learn the ways of Dinotopia, and because he doesn't really have much of a life outside of it, and so he wants to stay, and so there's conflict between the two brothers that, like I said, one's an asshole, one's a wuss, and it's how they interact with this crazy society, and a whole bunch of backstory and a whole bunch of world building about how there's these sunstone things that basically it's like a power source that they use to illuminate and power things in the city, and they also use it for like warmth and protection in some cases. It gets pretty detailed and a little boring in some spots. All throughout, I think you get some quality dinosaur effects. Like, this is all clearly CG. There might be a little bit of practical effects in there, but I couldn't really tell. And it's decent. I mean, the thing is 4 hours long and it's full of dinosaurs. It's not on the level of Jurassic Park, which would have been, like 7 years before this or whatever. But it holds up. CGI, like scenery and matte paintings or whatever they're using here, all looks really good. The world itself is beautiful and is well imagined and well fleshed out. And I mean, you have like your herbivore dinosaurs all work with the people, and of course the carnivores are out there at the fringes of society, like picking off the herbivores and I guess trying to eat people and stuff. Oh, and then there's a talking dinosaur in here whose name is Zippo. And they had a real opportunity to make this guy like comedic relief, but he doesn't really do anything funny. He's like this librarian professor. He's a scholar, and he helps the two boys and the princess, and he's their friend and ally and stuff. He had the potential to be like the Jar Jar Binks or whatever of this series, but he doesn't really get anything exciting to do other than spout out a bunch of exposition and story beats. Then one of the guys teaches him how to play ping pong. Whatever. Okay, he was fine. I guess for little kids, he'd probably be amusing. It's a talking dinosaur. Oh, and he's hopping around. He's all worried about everything. He's like skittish, and he's kind of a coward, but he was probably one of the better characters in this whole entire series. We also get to meet like the mayor of Waterfall City, like, which is the capital of Dinotopia, the princess's father. And also her mother, who is, I guess, like the queen or whatever, but she doesn't live there. She lives out on some, like, farm or something. And she's played by a lady called Alice Krieg. And the only place I know her from is she was the Borg queen in Star Trek First Contact. She's fine. I guess she's a good actress, but her part in this is she just scolds everybody all the time and talks about how shitty everybody else is and how perfect Dinotopia is and how everybody should listen to her and do exactly what she says. Then there's another part where, David, the wussy guy, has to conquer his fears, and he actually goes to like this academy that teaches cadets how to fly on the back of pteranodons. And it's actually kind of reminiscent of like Avatar, I guess, where he flies on the dragon thing or whatever. And there's one like rogue pteranodon or something like that, this albino one that nobody can get along with and bond with, but only this guy can. And part of the climax too is he rides on this pteranodon and they save the city by retrieving a sunstone or some shit. It's a long and complex story, and I was about an hour into it, and I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this. I guess I got to care about the characters a little bit, but I think I was more interested in seeing how it all played out because I wanted to complain about it. An hour in, it was like, snooze fest. But by the time I got to like the second disc, which I think is like 3 hours in, I was anticipating seeing the rest of it, and I wanted to see how it all played out. So yeah, there's some twists and turns and betrayals and redemption and abandonment. There's a love triangle in there. Of course, you know, the princess, and she's got to fall in love with the dirtbag guy, while also playing the wussy other brother against him to manipulate the two of them. Or I don't know, that's what it seemed like to me anyway. Being a Hallmark, it's got to have some romance in there, because Hallmark's all about the feels, right? As much as I'm complaining about it, I mean, 4 hours, you know, in several chunks. I think I watched this in 3 parts. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I got more dinosaurs in here than I thought I was going to, which is kind of amazing. Because, like, you know, last year or a year and a half ago, I watched Monarch, Legacy of Monsters, which was like 10 hours of, you know, that one season. And I got like 10 minutes of monster footage in there. This movie doesn't do that. The dinosaurs are part of the story, but there are some good scenes. There's some chase scenes, some like, you know, Zippo the talking dinosaur almost gets eaten by crocodiles. There's like an attack by pteranodons on the waterfall city. This is right near the end. It's building up and it's getting really exciting, and it's almost like the Siege of Gondor, you know, at the end of Return of the King. But then that only lasts like 2 minutes or something, and then the guy flies in with the sunstone on the back of a pteranodon, and they put it in the lighthouse, and they're like, bing, okay, everything's good. All the bad dinosaurs all fly away. All the bad guys go away. You've saved Dinotopia. As a little bit of disappointment, but they wrapped up the story. The boys eventually find their father, and I guess they're eventually going to escape from Dinotopia, but it leaves it kind of hanging at the end there. I don't know if there's sequels to this or other versions of it, or if this is like the books or not, because apparently there's like 30 books or 20 something books, and they're all lavishly illustrated by the same guy. And at first, I was like, when my friend recommended this to me and she lent me the disc, I was like, I'm not gonna like this, but thanks. I mean, she's coming from a totally different angle than I am, likes different kinds of movies, but I can see what she saw in this, but I wouldn't call it one of my favorites. I will go as far, though, as to give Dinotopia a B-. By the end of it, it was rewarding enough to have watched. There's a lot of good concepts in here. The acting was really not there, except for maybe like David Thewlis. And the action was lacking in some parts, but surprising in other parts. It's a deep, rich lore for Dinotopia. It's slightly better than okay. I mean, if it were just okay, I guess I'd give it like a C+, but we'll move it up into B territory because of the positive things that I saw in it. And I guess maybe it just felt like an accomplishment that I made it all the way through. So that's why I enjoyed it more. I don't know, does that make sense? Anyway, Dinotopia from 2002, brought to you by the Hallmark Corporation, gets a B-. Anyway, until our next amazing dino adventure, stay tuned to Andy Boy Comics and Toys. Y'all have a good one out there.